here with before. Right, we're both here. Jolly good. Right, don't worry, it's this is the first time we've done this, and there are technical problems, but I think everyone will be very understanding. I certainly hope so. So, right, as I was saying to people, the pinned post in the group is the guidelines. And this is what we're going to talk about. I'm afraid it's probably coming up backwards, but never mind. Now, Shred10 is a cleansing and rejuvenation program. And the reason that we need to cleanse is that we live on a very toxic planet and our bodies are full of toxins. We have hundreds and hundreds of toxins in our bodies. And we want to cleanse them out for better health and to feel better. And the way we do that is by eating clean food, and particularly lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of plants. So the guidelines say the first thing, add more real food. So what is real food? Well, that's what I said. It's really basically anything that's not processed, and a lot of it is plant food. Fruits, vegetables, berries, nuts, seeds, grains, quinoa, things like that. Then the next way to get more plants into our body is to take the Juice Plus capsules. This is key. You have to take the Juice Plus premium capsules, the red, the green, and the purple. So these will give us, turn it around so you can see the nice pictures. These will give us 30 different fruits, vegetables and berries every day. Fundamental to getting more plants into our body. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 complete shakes. Here's the shakes, the pouches, the vanilla and the chocolate. And we also have great snacks. So we have bars that you can have as a snack. So that's what we're adding. We're adding our premium capsules and 2 shakes. But Debbie, I'd like to ask you, why should we have 2 shakes a day? Tell us about the shakes, please.
Well, the shakes are a fantastic, very easy to add in, lots of nutrition for very busy people. It's quick and easy to make a very nutritious meal. The shakes are made from it's all plant-based. The protein is of exceptional high quality. We've got water-washed soy, rice and chickpeas in there for our protein. It's balanced macronutrition. The macronutrients are the fat, the protein and the carbohydrates. So it's a very balanced meal. It's very difficult sometimes when we're rushing around to put together a well-balanced meal. Now the whole point of that is that it gives us what's called a low glycemic load. So what that means is the sugars from the shakes or the nutrients from the shakes get into our blood in a very slow, controlled way. So it makes us feel fuller for longer, providing us with lots of energy to last to our next meal, rather than feeling hungry and deprived. So that's the whole point of the shakes, is it gives us lots of extra plants, lots of lovely nutrition. Plus, of course, in there, not only are there the macronutrients, we also have some more micronutrients as well. So we've got vitamins and minerals that have been added in. Plus, we've got another 17 of our fruits and vegetables added in there as well. So they really are a very powerful meal of convenience for busy people, for sure.
Fantastic.
Plus, of course, just one extra thing, sorry Anne-Margaret, is that of course it then provides you with wonderful willpower. So if you've got a very balanced meal, that means that we feel fuller for longer, and it's actually quite easy then to avoid the cakes, the biscuits, especially when we're at work and everyone's dishing around the cakes, etc. It's then quite easy to say, no, I'm fine, thank you. Whereas if your blood sugar's unbalanced, then that's when the danger hits.
Great, thank you. So can you also tell us how to make the shakes?
Well, that's the easy part. So, for instance, you've got a selection of either the vanilla or the chocolate. You take 1 full scoop and you level it off so that you've got no mound on the top. So that just means that you get the full 15 servings from your pouch of shakes. So 1 full scoop of either the chocolate or vanilla, or if you wanted, you could do half and half, but we'll say 1 of each. Plus either 250 mils of a non-dairy milk, so that'll be either oat milk, almond milk, coconut water, soya milk, any of those, or you can, any of those that you enjoy, or you could actually mix it up with water. So that would be your basic shakes. A non-dairy milk with the complete or water would make a delicious meal. Now, what most people do is they put in extra things to make it a bit varied every day, or considering we're having 2 a day, we want a bit of variety. So they add in some fruits, some berries. But what I'd like to say is that's absolutely fine. But what I'd say for the 10 days, the shred, is that you need to be careful not to unbalance this beautiful low glycemic meal that's provided with the shake. So what you don't want to do is add lots of fruit, because then of course you'll get the natural sugars from the fruit will actually spike your insulin levels. So if you're going to add fruit, that's fantastic. You then need to sort of balance it out with something like spinach or kale, or you could add in nuts and seeds, because they get blended up as well, especially if you're using a NutriBullet, or you could add in chia seeds or psyllium husks. So all of those things help balance out the fruit that you're adding in. So for sure, in the first 10 days, just be very careful not to add just fruit when you're making your shake.
Fantastic. That's great advice. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so that's the easy bit. 2 meals, which are made with complete shakes, 2 replacement meals, and then we're going to eat 1 clean meal. We'll come to that in a minute. The other thing that we're going to add is plenty of water. Now, I have a water bottle that I use. It's got 600 mils, and I know that I try and drink about 3 of these a day. But tell us, Debbie, why is it important to drink a lot of water?
Well, obviously, if we're doing a cleanse and rejuvenation, we will be removing some toxins from our body. So water is an easy way to get our kidneys working properly and flushing out those toxins via the kidneys. Plus, of course, it stops us being dehydrated. Now, our body is 70% water, and our brain is, in fact, 70 to 80% water. So you can imagine, there's been some evidence that just a dehydration of about 2% can actually make you not function very well mentally. So we lose cognitive function. So it's very important to drink lots of water. So the guideline that I use is about 35 mils per kilogram of body weight is a good guide. That would be one measure that I would use. But also what we're looking for is for our urine to be either a very pale straw or clear. That is a good indication that we're drinking enough water. And of course, if you don't drink enough water, that's one thing that is quite key. If you suffer from constipation, normally one of the things that people suffer from with constipation is just dehydration. And if you are thirsty or hungry, both of those signals are sent from the hypothalamus, and sometimes people actually confuse hunger for thirst and vice versa. So quite often, if you're hungry, one of the best things to do is take a large glass of water, and that will actually take those pangs away, because you're probably thirsty, not hungry.
Good. Okay. So, looking at the guidelines, the next thing that we're going to add on the Shred10 is we're going to sleep 7 to 8 hours. Can you put some words around that, Debbie?
Well, the thing with sleep, a lot of things happen when we're asleep. We do a lot of repair and rejuvenation when we're asleep. So it's key to get good quality sleep. And some people actually have problems with sleep quality, and they find that during the shred, because they're getting toxins out of the body, and maybe they're reducing other things that we'll come on to in a minute, but that actually then promotes good quality sleep. So we're looking for around 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And again, the science is out there that if you are to go to sleep before midnight, so preferably between 10 and 11 o'clock in the evening, to get a really good quality sleep. That really gives you deep quality sleep at the beginning of the night, and then obviously the lighter sleep happens later on. But the key is that we want our body to actually rejuvenate and repair well. And also what happens when we're asleep, funnily enough, is we fat burn. So by getting good quality sleep, we're actually burning fat while we're sleeping.
Great. That's easy.
Which is always good. Always good.
Always good. Always good. So you don't have to worry about it. It just happens when you're having a good rest. Right, the next thing on the guidelines and the things that we're adding to our day is exercise. Exercise most days. Debbie.
Well, the thing with exercise is, of course, I think what most people think, when somebody says to you, you need to exercise, they have visions of having to go down the gym and pump iron. Well, that is my worst nightmare. So I think in this day and age, it's so easy not to exercise. We've become so sedentary, we're maybe sitting at a desk all day. We drive everywhere in our cars. So the important thing with exercise is to do something that you really enjoy. So that can be something as simple as walking the dog or just walking out in nature. But you can break the exercise up. It doesn't have to be in one chunk. We ideally want to aim for about 30 minutes of exercise every day, but that can be split into, say, 3 10-minute chunks. So you can be doing the housework and really put your all into the housework to help burn those calories off and help those sort of good hormone feelings that come from exercising. So it's a really good de-stressor as well. And in this day and age when life is just fast paced, we need something to help calm our stress levels. So exercise is a very good way of doing that.
Yeah, fantastic. But of course you can do other kinds of exercise. You can play sports if you like that. Everyone does what is good for them and what they enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
I like swimming. Some people like playing tennis. Some people just as you were saying, walk the dog. Or there's all sorts of different things. Some people do go to the gym, but you just have to find something that you will enjoy, because that's the only exercise you probably will actually do. But it is important. If you break sweat, you will release some toxins out through your sweat as well, of course.
Absolutely. And just on that point, actually, and I forgot my brush, it's upstairs, but one of the other things that we can do when we're cleansing is doing something called dry skin brushing. So you would do that before you get into the shower in the morning. And I've got a really nice, I'm really cross I've left it upstairs, but I've got a really nice sort of body brush. It's about that big, and you literally just brush your skin very lightly all over. You're aiming to get the drainage into your armpits and your groin, where all of our lymph fluid will drain into, and that helps get rid of toxins. Gets rid of toxins through the skin and then stimulates the circulation, so you're getting the toxins released through the circulation, which helps to then go through the liver. And of course, toxins are also released from the cells into our lymph fluid, and dry skin brushing is a really good way to stimulate that. Mm-hmm.
That's great, thanks. I'm just looking to see if there are any comments. Anybody's written anything on the comments that we need to respond to?
I've just got one. I can see one from Claire. Anne-Margaret.
Right, you go ahead.
It says, I can't lose weight, I'm underweight, so therefore can I not exercise, or does that help the cleanse? Well, exercise, if you're worried about obviously you don't want to lose weight, Claire, so that's fine. We're not calorie restricting, so we want to have, we're having good nutrition plus a healthy meal, but you can snack on healthy snacks, so you could snack on healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil, nuts and seeds. You can have lots of nutrient-dense foods going in, which will help you not lose weight. Exercise, you don't really want to go too mad, perhaps, when you're doing your exercise, so maybe just gentle walks would be fine. It depends what you normally do for your exercise, Claire, but just keep going what you're doing. We want to encourage movement, because movement encourages the toxin release. I hope that helps.
And I've just seen another point, which I had meant to say as well, actually. Can I add lemon slices to water? Every morning, actually, I make warm water in a mug for Pear and myself, and add the juice of half a lemon to each mug. Is that a good thing?
That's a fantastic thing, because the good thing about lemon water, actually, people think lemons are actually acidic, but when they get into the body, they make it alkaline. And what we're trying to do with the shred is we're adding in so many more plants. We're making our bodies alkaline, which is absolutely brilliant. That's where we want to be. Acidic bodies aren't good, because acidic bodies is what stems disease. So what we're wanting to do is with the lemon juice, of course, it not only helps alkalize the body, but it helps give the liver a bit of a kick first thing in the morning. It actually kicks it into life and really helps with the detoxification process. So that's a really, really good tip, Anne-Margaret. And also, if you wanted to, you could also use something like apple cider vinegar, which is what I do when I run out of lemons. So either lemons or apple cider vinegar, fantastic way to start your day for sure.
And you put that in the warm water as well?
Yes, yes.
Right, yeah. Okay, good. Because sometimes you run out of lemons. That's a good tip. Good. And Claire's saying, yes, her exercise can be running around the house after her kids. Yes, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great exercise.
Yeah, right. And you have lemon water every day. Well, that's marvellous. You're doing it anyway. Super. Okay, so those are the different things that we're going to add. Like add more real food, which is, we're going to have one clean meal, which is going to be good food. The capsules, the shakes, lots of water, enough sleep, and exercise most days. And great tips on the dry skin brushing to get toxins out. Those are things you're adding. We're going to eliminate some things though. The two important things that are really crucial for Shred10 are you have to have 0 gluten and 0 dairy. No gluten and no dairy. Can you tell us why, Debbie, and how to avoid gluten? What happens when you avoid gluten and dairy, and how we do it?
Okay, so the reason why we tend to eliminate gluten and dairy is that most people actually have far too much, and they are the two main things in people's diets that cause inflammation. And inflammation is actually the sort of the start of all chronic disease. So gluten is found in sort of wheat, bread, pasta. A lot of processed foods have gluten in. It's hidden in almost everything. And it's a very, very hard to digest protein. So by eliminating gluten, we actually give our digestive system a bit of a break. So that's really one reason why to eliminate the gluten, say for digestion and also for toxins as well, because a lot of the grains are actually heavily sprayed with sort of pesticides and insecticides, and they actually don't help with our toxic load either. The dairy actually is very, very inflammatory, can produce quite a lot of mucus in some people. So again, it's much better to remove it. Now it's only, we say remove for 10 days completely. And then after that, if you wanted to add some of it back in, that's your choice. But just want for people to see how much better they feel by removing the two main culprits, the two main allergens from the diet.
Yeah. And in fact, a lot of people find themselves feeling bloated when they eat gluten. If you have a sandwich for lunch, after lunch you can feel a bit lethargic, a bit bloated up, and that goes away. So another reason for dropping bread.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bread is for me personally. I mean, I do eat the odd bit of bread rarely. So like when I go on holiday or high days and holidays, but it really doesn't agree with me. And one of the main things that I find for me is that I get really bloated. My tummy feels quite painful because I get quite distended, and I feel actually very, very lethargic. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons why it doesn't give me, I don't react severely to it, but those things are enough for me to want to remove it from my diet pretty much 99% of the time. Mm-hmm.
See, Peter saying, who's making angry emojis? I think it was wow. I don't think it was angry ones, Peter. I think it was wow ones. That's a wow coming up there. Wow, we're great. Sometimes you can't read what the emojis are. I was going to say something of vital importance and I've lost the thread. No gluten. Can you eat gluten-free bread?
Well, gluten-free bread is a real push, I would say, possibly. But if you're really wanting to go down let's eliminate the processed foods, because after all the free-from ranges, they are highly processed. So although you're removing the gluten and therefore removing one of the main issues, you are still eating quite a highly processed food. So it's actually beneficial for the 10 days for sure to remove the gluten-free breads as well. Yeah.
Good. Right. And I think with dairy, there's no alternatives. You take plant-based milks. There's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, perhaps post 10 days, you could perhaps go on to the lesser dairies such as feta cheese or goat's cheese, they perhaps would be allowed later, but for the 10 days we would say no, avoid those as well.
Yes, yeah. We have to be really strict for the first 10 days.
Sure.
Right, the next thing, I'm just checking if there should be any other comments that I haven't seen. I don't think so. I think we're doing okay. Eliminate caffeine and alcohol. Maybe I'll do those two together.
Well, those two together, basically both of them actually are toxins and stimulants. So what happens with caffeine and alcohol is it gives the liver really too much to do. Let's take caffeine first of all. Caffeine, we know that it helps sort of keep us awake and alert, but what it does that by actually stimulating the adrenal glands, and our adrenals have enough to do. We're highly stressed, highly busy people. So what we want to try and do is give our adrenal glands a break. So by removing caffeine, and I do suggest that you do it slowly as well, because if you just go cold turkey, you will get some you will get some caffeine headaches. So it is a very good idea to go slowly. So if nobody has reduced their caffeine already, although we are supposed to reduce or remove caffeine from day one, I highly recommend that you slowly reduce it over the next couple of days, so that eventually you are caffeine free, because otherwise you will get some severe detox reactions. So so we want to be able to utilize the nutrients that we use to detox the caffeine and the alcohol for better things, for helping the body function better. So the alcohol actually is just like injecting pure sugar into your body. It is sugar. That you can't dress it up any other way. It is sugar. So and again, it gives the liver too much to do. It's using valuable nutrients, trying to get rid of the alcohol, when really they should be used for other more important things.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of comments on the caffeine. Claire's asking if decaf tea bags are purely decaf.
No, all of the decafs are... Actually, all decaffeinated products still have some caffeine in them. So, for instance, if the average cup of tea is about 40 milligrams of caffeine, by removing the caffeine, you're only down to about 5 milligrams, so it's not completely removed. Now, the problem with the decaffeination process is it's a highly chemical process. So although you've removed the caffeine, which you've got rid of one toxin, you've probably put others in because of the decaffeination process. So it's really highly beneficial for you to not substitute with a decaffeinated tea or coffee, but to switch to the naturally caffeine-free. So something like red bush tea, or some of the fruit and herbal teas that have got no caffeine in. They're just purely naturally caffeine-free.
Mm-hmm. And piercing, I know this, of course, he suffers badly after several days without having caffeine. He finds himself very tired.
Right.
Can't get up in the morning.
Well, obviously that is part of the detox reaction as well, is it makes you sort of feel like that. But obviously, hopefully, with 10 days on the shred, the energy level should come up quite significantly.
Yeah, it'll change, yeah. So Pear is sad about the coffee, and John is sad about the alcohol. I think John likes a glass of wine. Mm-hmm. In the evening.
Don't we all?
We are. Don't we all? But you can do anything for 10 days, can't you?
Absolutely.
10 days.
Absolutely.
So, after that, the next thing on our list here that we're eliminating is processed foods. Now, we've been into this a little bit, but tell us about that. What's processed foods? Claire doesn't drink alcohol, so that's easy for you. Everyone's different, you see. Everyone has different habits. But processed foods. How do we clean, and how do we avoid processed? Well,
obviously processed, we're looking at things like, the cakes, the biscuits, anything that comes, like the pre-prepared meals, the ones that have had preservatives added. If you look on the label of your food that you're buying, if it's got lots of chemical names on there that you don't understand, then you really need to avoid it. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to remove all of the processed junk basically, and eat as clean as we can. So lots of fruits and vegetables, unprocessed grains, no bread, no pasta, just take all of the processed foods out for 10 days. You should say you can do anything for 10 days, because again, with the processing, they add in preservatives, they add in sweeteners, quite often sneak in there. What's the word I'm looking for? The additives, all of the E numbers, we want those completely out of the diet. So that's the key thing is to get more plant nutrition into the diet and really get the body to cleanse and rejuvenate properly. And it's very difficult to do that when you're eating processed foods. So things like sausages, bacon, these pies that you buy from the supermarket, the ready meals like the lasagnas and all those sorts of things. That's the type of thing we're wanting to cut out completely.
Yeah, and cold meats.
Yeah, cold meats are another thing, because they've got nitrites in them, and again that's the preservative process. So they're high in preservatives. So they're the things you want to avoid as well.
Okay, good. And then you mentioned a little bit about sugars, artificial and refined sugars come out. So artificial sugars as well. That's things like sweeteners, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, what people find is when they remove the sugars, then they try and put these sweeteners back in to make it taste sweet, and they are like poison. Aspartame in particular is a neurotoxin, and when it breaks down in the body, it breaks down to methanol formaldehyde. So again, it's just giving your body extra work to do. They actually are they affect the brain because of the neurotoxicity, so they can make you feel quite mentally not unstable, that's not the word I'm looking for, but just mentally challenged, if you like. It can affect cognitive function as well. And actually, they don't curb the cravings, because it's been scientifically proven that sweeteners actually do induce cravings, because the brain isn't fooled by the sweetness of the sweetener. The tongue is, but the brain isn't. So it's constantly looking for that sugar fix. So that's why those sorts of things are completely a no-no on the Shred10.
Okay, good.
And forever,
right,
really.
Forever, yes. There's some things that you really should never have.
Absolutely.
Even when we go to the next phase, a lot of things, you can relax a little bit. There's some things you should stick with, but we can maybe have a chat after the 10 days, what we're going to do for the next 20 days. We can say about that. Right, the last thing is, and this is when we've done polls before in our previous shreds, this has always come out as the thing people think is going to be most difficult, most challenging to do, and that's eating and having finished your meal by about 6 p.m. So that's hard, but why should we strive to do it?
The reason why it's best to have your meal by 6 o'clock is because it gives then the body a chance to digest your food before you go to bed, which is really important. We don't want to be asleep and still trying to digest, because that means that the activity, the nutrients, all of the rest and repair and the restorative processes that go on during our sleep won't happen as effectively, because we're still trying to digest our food. So the whole point of eating, say, by 6 is that we have this window of opportunity from, say, 6 o'clock in the morning till we have our breakfast, say, maybe 6 to 8 to 10 o'clock the next day. So we get at least a 12 to 16 hour window without food, and again that means that our insulin levels will return to normal, and we can then fat burn while we're asleep. Our bodily functions can carry on while we're asleep. And actually, and I think Nikki will agree with this, because I've spoken to her about this before, is that when you eat by 6, or certainly by 7, that you sleep better. The quality of sleep is better. So we're aiming to get good quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But sometimes that quality of sleep isn't always there. So that's why we want to eat by 6 o'clock, because it actually does help with the quality of sleep, as well as prevent these the digestion happening when we're still asleep, which is really not a good idea at all.
Yeah. So certainly, if you can't make it by 6, make it by. Try and make it by 7. Give yourself 3 hours, and preferably 4 hours before you go to bed. You don't want to go late to bed either, because there's nothing much. So we want to go early to bed, reasonable time anyway, and eat early. Of course, and I don't know if that applies to anybody on this Shred this time, if you work shifts, that's a different story. And if you're pregnant or if you are breastfeeding, that's a different story. If anybody's in that situation, we can talk about that. But you have to eat plenty and make sure you will need to eat after 6, because you're producing food. If you're breastfeeding or pregnant, you're creating a new human being or feeding another human being. You need lots of food and energy. But
so the other, sorry, Anne-Margaret. The other thing with eating by 6 is that it means that it helps cut out bad habits that might happen later on in the evening. So who can own up to having midnight fridge raids, or literally going to the biscuit barrel or going and getting a bag of crisps? It's those habits that we're trying to avoid. So saying last meal at 6 o'clock and then nothing after, just some herbal teas or some water, that would be fine, but no food at all.
Mm-hmm. And that is hard for some people, but as Nikki said, she's written here,
I don't want to turn it down because
then it shows up on the screen. Captions complete to my diet for the best part of 25 years, and I didn't think anything would improve my sleeping habits, but this...
Okay, is it okay if I eat it away or the beginning or away?
Definitely. Okay. Anyway, this one seems to have done it. And Claire says, this will be me. Is that you the French reader? What you're doing? Maybe that's not what you meant. I don't want to do
Sorry, I can't turn it on. It's just
okay.
Well, I'm just looking at my notes to see that I've not left anything out, but I think we're pretty much there. Was we going to mention something about stress relief as well?
Yes, you did talk a little bit about the dry brush, but yes, there was the breathing story. Tell us about that.
So the other thing that's quite nice to do when we're detoxing and cleansing and rejuvenation is we actually want to help our bodies de-stress, because we're very busy, and we want to help our adrenal glands recover as well. So it's quite good at some point during the day to do some nice deep breathing exercises. So you don't have to do like a full-blown meditation, but just good breathing, breathing deep and making sure the breath goes down to the abdomen, just not the shallow chest. And you can do that several times throughout the day, but it's a good idea to get into that sort of habit, because it really does help calm the stress response and help support our adrenals and all of the other functions. It helps mental clarity. It's a really good practice to get into, is to do some form of stress relief activity. That could be something like reading a good book, having a relax in the bath, chatting to a friend on the phone, but not sitting in front of the telly. That's not relaxing. That's just resting. That's not a relaxing type of activity that we want to encourage. Just, good stress relief tips are really good.
Okay, well, Claire says she meditates daily, so she's got that one under control.
Brilliant. Well done, Claire.
Changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered all of the guidelines. So the point of this is, as we said at the beginning, cleansing and rejuvenation, and it's about shredding, but you're shedding habits, bad habits, the food that isn't good for us, and the toxins that are absolutely not good for us. So shredding the toxins and the food, and putting in instead good habits, good food, good clean food, and lots of plants, particularly lots of fruits and vegetables, which we get from our Juice Plus products, but also from eating these good meals. And one thing we didn't mention about eating after 6 o'clock, if it really is a struggle, depending on your work, you can have a meal at lunchtime and have your shake at 6 o'clock. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. But it all depends on what works best for you. That is the one that's difficult. But and lots of when you have snacks, have good healthy snacks. Mm-hmm. But I hope we've answered all the questions that came up Does anybody feel that they've got an unanswered question?
I think we'll go back afterwards and from downstairs
as well, but I think we've covered it all. Peter has said her caffeine is tea is different from caffeine. Coffee is not so bad. I don't know. It's different.
I'm not sure about that, whether it is or not, to be fair. Caffeine is caffeine, to be fair. I think it doesn't really matter where it comes from, whether it's tea or coffee. It's not as high in tea, for sure, but it's still caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right.
But we can always do, what we'll do, obviously, throughout the 10 days, won't we, Anne-Margaret? We're always putting up lots of informative posts, and if people have got questions as they crop up, then obviously we'll do our best to answer them. We'll either do it on another live, or, we can just answer them through text as we go along. But please, if you've got any questions, just ask away. That's what we're here for, to help you succeed.
Absolutely. The whole point of having this support group is that to support each other. So there's no question which is a stupid question. Everybody is going to have challenges one way or the other. And if there's anything you don't understand or if you're having a funny reaction, you may be having a detox reaction, tell us about it and we can come and give you advice on what to do about it. But we're here to help. And a lot of us have done this before, and we find that it gets better and better, doesn't it? The first one will be a bit difficult, the second one's a bit better. You get into it, you get tuned into it, and you get better results. So it's a great thing to do, and we're looking forward to this. And thank you for spending the time this evening with us, and hope it was useful.
Okay, so goodbye everybody, and we'll see you in the next 10 days.
Yes, goodbye for now.
Bye.